Hi, I'm Rod Simeon, and this is Bedtime Stories. The name of this bedtime story is entitled Wolves Howling. Wolves Howling. Now, in this particular bedtime story, we have a very unusual, a very advanced race of wolves. Not just wolves, but animals. Now, these animals are hidden. They're hidden in a place where people can't find them. Man can't find them. Normal society cannot find these animals, okay? They have high intelligence, but they don't have the kind of intelligence humans have. They have the kind of intelligence that animals have inside of a thriving animal community. You know, it's a place that's kind of like Alaska, but it's not anywhere near Alaska. It's in a place that's hidden from pollution, hidden from people, hidden from hunters. Now, the border, just right outside of the border of this place, there are hunters, there are human beings, there are even bear traps, or, you know, society of humans. But this place is so hard to find that you couldn't even stumble upon it by accident. You would have to be led there by one of the animals that actually live there, because this place is protected. Protected by who? Protected by the Great Spirit. God, the Great Spirit, call it what you want. But this place is protected because it's the very last frontier of animals right here on Earth. Now, the name of the land that these animals live in is called the Land of Hideous. Now, it's not called hideous because there's something awful about it. It's called hideous because it's hidden from normal society, if you want to call it normal society. The truth is, who's really normal? A society of people like us, or a society of people, or let's just say a society of animals who don't cause wars. Now, animals do what's natural. If an animal's hungry and he's a predator, he's gonna go and he's gonna hunt, he's gonna get food. That's the way it goes, okay? That's not different in the Land of Hideous. That's the same way. That happens there. But man is not there to mess things up, to mess the ecosystem up, as they call it, okay? Now, there's a particular, we'll call it the pack. There's a pack of wolves. Now, we call it the pack, but there's really a whole bunch of varieties and species of wolves there, and we'll just call them one whole big pack. They live in a community, so we'll call it a community of wolves. And these wolves are very intelligent. And every now and then, some of these wolves will actually leave their hideous land and go to society that we know of. And they'll spy on people. They'll spy on other animals. And they'll go there for a time on assignment because the leader of the wolf pack sent them to go there. And then these wolves will come back with a report on what they saw and what has happened to them when they left. When they will come back to the Land of Hideous, they would say some things like, I saw these hunters shooting the ducks out of the sky, or I saw this happen, or I saw people dog fighting with pit bulls. Kind of like the story I told a little while back called Beast versus Man, okay? Kind of like that, but a little bit more complex because we're not dealing with animals that have been genetically engineered to have human intelligence. No, we're dealing with animals who are naturally intelligent, okay? That's the difference. And these wolves wolves are a form of a dog, okay? A form of a canine, if you would. These wolves don't like domesticated animals, especially dogs. These particular wolves do not like domesticated dogs. They don't. And the reason they don't is because they feel like dogs were naturally supposed to be in the wild like them. And they feel that dogs that are domesticated, that live with people, have actually become weak and become a disgrace to what they really are supposed to be. In fact, these wolves have peace with the wild dogs that are out there in the wild with them. They don't have any wars. They all get along, okay? Unlike us, people who can't get along with somebody either because of their race or because of how much money they make or their creed or, you know, whatever religion, we don't get along. That's not to say that they are a utopia. That's not to say that these wolves or these animals are a perfect society, because they're not. But they're a heck of a lot better than we are. And they don't like domesticated dogs. They don't like domesticated animals anyway. One wolf came back with a report. He said, you know what? There are just some animals there that just cannot be domesticated. I've seen parrots inside of cages. When I look inside the window of these people's houses, these parrots are in a cage and made that, and the parrots were meant to do like any bird is meant to do, fly and be out in the wild. That's why if you take a domesticated animal and put them out in the wild, they'll either quickly be consumed and eaten and destroyed, or they will become like animals in the wild, except in a worse way. They'll become worse because they're not used to that. It'll be hard for they'll adapt. But usually if you take a domesticated dog, let's say a dog, and put him out in a wild, he might end up in worse condition than a regular wild animal, or than he would if he had stayed domesticated. In other words, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But I believe adaptation can play a very important role. That's why these wolves, along with these wild dogs, want to actually conceive a plan to actually go and take some of these domesticated dogs and bring them out into the wild, into their society. And, you know, especially the ones that are, especially the animals that are being abused. They want to take these pit bulls that are being killed in dog fighting, you know, and stuff, and bring them out in the, you know, in the wild. But those animals, they have to be very cautious of, because those animals have become such harsh killers that putting them out in the wild might not be such a good thing. So they have to do it very carefully. They don't have any plans to do it, but it's something that they discuss in their meetings out in the wild. However, there are some things that they really truly are going to do. They're going to survey the area where people actually have dogs domesticated, and they're going to attempt to make contact. Now, very cautiously. They never go alone. You know how wolves travel alone? There are some lone wolves that travel alone. Well, these wolves don't travel alone unless they're excommunicated, or unless one of them has to go out there to be tested by the others. You have to, in other words, you have to prove that you, like the Native Americans will send his son out there, you know, his kid, to go out there to become a man. He has to go out in the wilderness by himself, and he has to do something to become a man out there by himself. But the truth of the matter is, most oftentimes, he's not out there alone. That kid is not out there alone. His father is actually out there with him. Not just in spirit, but I mean physically. His father is actually following him out there to see if he's okay. The wolves, they do the same thing.